A very good morning. Welcome to Interview, a live talk show presented by the Chuckles. Today we have our guest, Dr. Shrilakshmi Desiraju, who is the co-founder and CEO of Triphase Pharmaceuticals. Welcome to the show, ma'am.
Hi, thank you.
So, in today's episode, we will discuss about women entrepreneurship, biotech innovations, and global patents. Let us start with our first question. Ma'am, you are a pioneer in robotic space. So, being a woman in stem cell and science sectors, is it anything different for you? How things are different? Or what are your thoughts on that?
Kanan, I don't think if you were into probiotics or you were into science or you were into STEM, I think the same thing goes everywhere. It is about doing a science which will actually help you to take it to a stage which is useful for masses. So for me, doing science as a researcher, and I was a part of research teams while I was working in Canada, or whether I am today having a company which does research, the point which I want to make is that we all needed to take this and see that it ends up into a monetization state. There are different steps in which you do, and that is that you do research, and whether it was just a researcher of as me, you do research or you, and that is called as the market pain in the business world. So you did research or you founded the market pain of a problem of the industry. You did research to find the solution of that market pain. Next step would be to find what is the competitive advantage of that solution, whether it is useful enough for the industry, for the people, for commercialization, for making it in the bulk, and are there many competitors there? If not, then you would go and actually put this research under IP or intellectual property, which will allow it to be secured so that you can get a value for what all you have done for so many years. Then you look for market opportunity for this research, whether it is actually good enough for it to go into the market. You make a marketing strategy, you implement it, and then you see revenue. So whether you do it in whichever form, whether you do a simple research or whether you do it in a form that you see outcomes of this research coming out either for publication or patenting or commercialization, I think the steps are the same.
Right. Thank you so much. So, when we move ahead and talk about cold chains, how did you solve these challenge of eliminating cold chains from the probiotic industry?
So this was the, as I told you some steps, right now, that how do we go, what is the market pain, what is. So the probiotics are nothing but good bacteria. And these good bacteria, if you see, and the easiest for us to see is in the form of curd or yogurt, right? So that is the easiest, at least as Indians, we see a lot of it happening for us because we eat curd in various forms. We eat in the form of curd, we eat in in lassi, we eat in chach, we eat it in the form of buttermilk. So there are multiple formats of these things. This curd, you leave it outside for 2 days, even in the temperature when it is not high, and it goes bad, right? But the same curd, you leave it in the fridge, it keeps going on for at least 6 days, right? So that means we realize that probiotics have to be, these bacteria have to be kept in 2 to 8 degrees. That is the refrigeration temperature. And that refrigeration temperature is the only way that we can actually take these probiotics in our body, which are the most essential part nowadays. Especially in the pandemic, you have seen immunity has been the talk of the town, and probiotics are known to increase the immunity. Now the problem comes as that this, if you had to do that, then everything has to be in cold chain. So the market pain, or the first research topic that we understood, was that can we make these probiotics temperature stable? And what was the issue? Why was the reason to do that? Because it was in the cold chain, the challenges were immense. You had no alternatives or less alternatives. Manufacturing complexities were very high. Then you had issue of overages. You had limited applications. So we said, okay, can we make these probiotics high temperature stable or temperature stable, room temperature stable? I don't think we even tried for making high temperature stable. We simply said, can we make it room temperature stable? And if we can make it room temperature stable, and without enteric coating or without any genetic modification, then we are having when we have a product which can go into the market. So the first thing that we did was to identify this market pain. And your question, answering to your question, how did you make it? It is by simple fermentation process, but it is a proprietary IP issue, as well as these are simple fermentation media that we play around with to make these probiotics, which are the natural gut bacteria which we make high temperature stable. So our probiotics, which otherwise would have been left at 2 to 8 degrees, are now stable up till 240 degrees centigrade, and that changed the whole game in the area of probiotics, because now you can make you can put probiotics in confectionery. Now you can bake your breads. Now you can make cookies out of it, and this otherwise was not looked into. This otherwise was not possible.
Right, right. Thank you. So, when we talk about this patent, Triphase, your company was awarded a US, Canadian, and European patent for this technology. So, can you please tell us more about it?
Sure. Again, I go back to my first topic. There are steps I'm following here.
Yeah.
So now we did a market pain. We found out the problem that we wanted to solve. We went back and found a solution to it. We saw that there is a competitive advantage because there were not many companies who were doing it. Not just that, there was only one technology which was at par, but that technology also could not take the probiotics to 70 degrees or so, not more than that. And so this was another thing that allowed us to say, okay, competitively, we are way ahead of in the game. Once that happened, the next thing was to do the IP protection. And when we did the IP protection, obviously, because it was a new area that you have done, so and gestation period in biotech or life sciences is longer. So there is a need to protect your intellectual property, so that you have some time limit that you can actually monetize it. You have some time limit that you can take it and you can see that it brings in the value that you have put your effort, time, money, brain, everything there. And that is where we kind of went ahead. And first thing we did was in 2016, I think so, when we had the first breakthrough. The first thing we did was to file a provincial IP, both in India as well as in US. So US came in. US actually was made on the in IP. There are different levels of IP that you can do, but US patent attorney lawyers told us to put it on a fast track, because this thing was so new, and they saw that there is a lot of merit of taking this product out there. So they put it on the fast track, and I think in a year's time or year and a half years time, I think so, the US patent came through. The beauty of US patent is that they not only patented our process, in our product, in the technology that we developed, but they also allowed us to patent the microbes, which is unheard of, in the this domain, because microbes are something which are natural, and you do not get patents on microbes. But since this thermal variant of this microbe was developed through a technology, and the name of the technology, we call it as strain boost technology. So US patent was given to us. Along with it, we got the microbes. European patent was another story. It took some longer time, but actually we got it through the European patent, defending our patent in much more stronger way. Canadian patent came after that, and the Indian patent must be on its way. So yeah, patenting was the strategy for Triphase right from the beginning. As I said, the market pain, the solution, the competitive advantage, and the next one was making it secure so that Triphase can monetize it for some time.
Right, right. So, moving on, can you please tell us something about your research and clinical research?
So first and foremost, as a company, when we got this thing done, what we did was we saw an application, because when you are running a small scale company, I think the first thing as an entrepreneur you have to be worried about is how is the money going to come. All nice to talk about great research, all nice to talk about I did this and I did that, and as long as you were getting money from somewhere, which was free for you, then it is a different, but otherwise you have to worry about generating revenue. And whether you have money of your own, still when you have to run a business, it has to run like a business. I mean, otherwise just go and do some charity, that is the easier option. So when we started doing it, we first started doing it in food. We saw that there were food applications, those things started to bring in revenue, those things started to create new ideas and new areas of application which otherwise were unheard of. And the next thing we said, I'm actually a chemist by training, and I've worked in the pharma domain for good 8 to 10 years, and I worked in Canada actually. So pharma has been very close to my heart. I have worked in that domain for most of my professional life before I came and started this company, Triphase. And so we needed to go into the second domain, that was the pharma domain or dietary supplement domain. Now we have taken this domain, wherein obviously if you wanted to bring a advantage of this product, or there is a product differentiation, then you needed to show that this product which you have made thermostable or high temperature stable needed to show some activity, right? Some clinical benefits. Otherwise, why would you make it? I mean, it's good to say that I have something which is temperature stable. So what? So what we did was we did one clinical trial. We have done a couple of them, but one of them which is very interesting and might actually interest the viewers also, wherein we took this probiotics which were temperature stable, and we made a oral patch. And this was probiotics specifically was for oral health. So the kids who are there, they have invariably a habit of not brushing their teeth before they sleep, right? And they have a lot of oral issues all the time when they are growing up. One of the bad bacteria is called as S mutans, which is mostly responsible for the oral health, or for the dental caries or bad breath or many other problems that kids have. So what we did was we took our probiotics and we had done a clinical trial wherein we took kids from the age of 7 to 13, and we gave them this oral patch twice a day. And we ran this experiment for I think 15 days, 15 or 20 days was the time period. The S mutants, which is responsible for doing all the caries and bad breath and teeth pain and the gum issues, was reduced by 98%. And that kind of took us really on a very sweet spot, where we can now put these particular bacteria in form of gummies or chocolates, and tell a kid that he doesn't need to wash his mouth, instead pop into gummies and eat it in the night. I am telling you, you will be loved for your life. So this was another application that we did, wherein we took these probiotics, which allowed them to have oral health. Now, 3 years down the road, we still have these kids coming to our. This was done at actually JSS Dental College, so those guys, they still come, and we don't see any issues with them. And this particular research got published in International Journal of Pediatric Dentistry. So yeah, one such successful story that we have there. There are others for digestion, for immunity. Probiotics are used, they are being used for lots of things. In fact, probiotic, we don't even realize we are just touching the tip of iceberg. There's so much more to it.
Right, right. So, in these terms, in this experiment that you shared, what were the challenges in terms of the getting the kids for that experiment? Were there any challenges from the parents' front, or when you shared this product, how was the parents' reaction?
Well, they were happy. It was non-invasive. They were not doing anything. Kids were more than happy to eat one chocolate or one gummy, right? I mean, I don't see any reason. But yes, this was an experimental thing which we were done after getting all the clearances, after getting safety committee along with us, because we had all done all the preclinical and clinical testing before we gave it to the kids, and it was specifically for increasing the oral health of kids. So probiotics are known for doing that. And since we did not have any toxicity issue with the probiotics, that's why we were very comfortable using it with the kids.
Right. So next, when we talk about debt financing, angel investors, and venture funding, you have received all this. So how did you make it happen?
Each one is one story. It's all nice to say, I sit today in front of you and going live to talk about my journey, but I know last 10 years how it has been. And but the only pleasure or only pride, I think so, I take in is in my team. I might be the face of this company, but this company is nothing without the team. So I genuinely have loads of it's just a mutual happiness that we all have, that we saw a dream together, and today we are in a phase where we are able to take this dream to a completion. uh, yes, I started my journey obviously with my own funds, but very early on, and this is one learning that I think lots of entrepreneurs need to understand. At least my experience, I'm not there yet to give you any gyan out there, but definitely my understanding. I worked with the banks under CGTMSE scheme of MSME. I received a loan of 1 crore without a collateral. The banks don't give you any loan to set up a company, a high risk area, capital intensive, and you do not know where you are going. And the bank would not even take consideration but for the schemes that the government has provided to startup community in India. And I can assure you there wouldn't be a time and space that if you were having any inclination to start up your own company or start up your own things, this is the best time, because so many schemes, so many things that you are getting. I don't think this was available 20 years back or 15 years back either. So I got that first loan of CGTMSE under CGTMSE scheme, and believe me, that was a story wherein I started going to the bank in the month of October. It used to be called as State Bank of Mysore. Now it has amalgamated in State Bank of India. I used to go to the bank in the month of October. I started going, and my proposal was uh, approved only in the month of March. So that kind of perseverance, every week I used to go and sit there asking them, either tell me that my proposal is not good, and give it to me in writing, or otherwise you give me money. So that is how I got this first level of financing from the bank. And it was only with that perseverance, I think so, over a period, they did understand that yes, it was possible for and bank also have a mandate by RBI that they have to give a loan to both women entrepreneur as well as an SC/ST entrepreneur. They have this mandate from RBI that you need to give loan to these people, one person per branch, not even one person per bank or one person per city. It is one person per branch. So I think in the month of March, they also wanted to do their quota, and I also wanted my money, and it worked very beautifully for both of us. But before you go there, make a report from a professional. Make your projections, make everything, financial report at least, from an ex-banker or a finance person, and do it professionally. Don't try to save that 3,000 rupees or 5,000 rupees, because you don't understand how bank requires you to project how much of business you will do, because until you do, it is all on the Excel sheet, right? So unless you really do it, you will not know it. So make your projections, make your proposals on a good note, and I'd ask some professional to help you so that you will be able to do it successfully. And that is the key, I think so, to get loan from the banks. Now, why did I take this loan? Why not go and serve equity right in the beginning? The reason I did take this loan was because I did not want, I see, financial discipline comes only when you are taking a debt funding. If you are not having a debt funding, believe me, there is no financial discipline. Your own money, forget it. You are going to take it only at the end of the road. So that is where you have to understand, as a small scale entrepreneur, when you are bootstrapping, when you are actually working with this whole thing, you have to understand that debt financing is the best way to start a business. Because month on month, whether you like it or not like it, whether it was Diwali, Dasara, or any of the other festival, you still have to make sure that there is money back into the account, and which can be paid off to the bank as an EMI. So this is the first lesson which I learned, that debt financing would actually not allow me to take a break, which was not good, but it was good. And also that debt financing also allows you to become responsible. I think so. Now going back to venture capital. Well, I had applied for another competitions. I've applied, done all lot kind of things. And when I did for something for from Economic Times, it is called Power of Ideas. I did for this particular competition, and I won this award in 2016, I think so. Yeah, January. And the best thing which happened was, as a part of that journey of going and presenting and whatnot, it was a nationwide competition. They had taken 45 of us to IIM Ahmedabad, where they groomed us to be investor ready. Now, when went there, and when they groomed me to be investor ready, from then on till my I got funded only in June 2017. 1.5 year, I pitched into X number of, really number of VCs. But very quickly I understood that you needed a person along with you who understands what you are bringing on table, number one, and who can handhold you little bit more than just giving you the money. So it is not just about asking money from the venture capital, or it's not about just raising funds. It is about taking that funds and utilizing it in such a way that you can actually see the impact of that funds that you have gotten it. Believe me, when you start your own company, you have something called, fancy names. You are the CEO, you are the CFO, CSO. So between C and O, there are lots of alphabets. You can choose which one you want. But all those don't come with any power. It comes with a lot of responsibility. This responsibility of you, whether it is whether it's your team, whether it is the person who has given you the space to work, whether it is funding from the government, or whether it is funding from the VC, it is your responsibility to make sure that none of that is getting misused. So VC funding for me came also on a long way. Loads of stories around that also, because 1.5 year, if I was pitching to hundreds and hundreds of VCs, I have loads of story about it. But I had done one thing. I had actually shortlisted 5 VCs, and I said, if these are the ones, one of them would be if I'm able to convince them, or they see, it's not even me convincing, they see a value in what I'm doing, then I will go with them. I was not ready for taking money from anybody and everybody, because the Lala type of people who are just giving you 1 rupee and they want it to be converted to 1.5 rupee is not the biotech or life sciences game. Has a long gestation period, it has a long understanding period, it has a lot of patience requirement period, and that will allow you to actually take the maximum benefit out of this technology that we had built.
Right. So that is such an inspiring journey that you are sharing. So what, like in so many things, you have faced so many challenges or things that were not working in that immediate Second, so what was the thing that kept you motivated all along?
I think the team kept me motivated. I am committed to my team. I am committed to my team, wherein I need to, because they saw the dream with me. And I cannot think of, there were times which were bad, there were times which were good. But these boys, they kept that faith that yes, together we will be able to do it. And another thing, which I think which is ingrained in me, which I have realized very recently actually while talking to a couple of people, is that when you come from a tier 2 city, okay, you are not. I was born and brought up in Ujjain in Madhya Pradesh. I don't even think people know where it stands on the map unless you are very religious and you know something about God Shiva, and that is how you would know Mahakaleshwar, and that is in Ujjain. Other than that, it is a very, very quiet town. Very historically has a lot of significance, but very quiet town. It's a university town. There's nothing more than that. So I come from a very small city, and exposure is obviously limited. We do not have too much of exposure in tier 2 cities. So this is somewhere deep in me. If I get an opportunity, I don't leave it. And I think that keeps me going. Okay, fine. And second thing is, when you come from a smaller cities or tier 2 cities or tier 3 cities, you have that die or do wala concept. You want to do something and prove yourself more. And it is definitely something that is deep in me, that let me do something different. Let me do something, because I was born in a family of academicians, and definitely business is not in our 7 generations. I don't think anybody did it. I got married into a family where also they are scientists, so there was business was not something was accepted as a normal part of life. We all lived in safe zone, where we had salaries coming every month from government or from universities or from institutes, and in that amount we managed our lives, and we said, okay, fine, this is how we have to move forward in our lives. So business was something a high risk, and none of the parents, this side or that side, kind of appreciated it. They were appreciative. They were more worried. It was not about appreciative. They were more worried because obviously they realized that there was a huge risk I was taking. So yeah, it is these two things. I think so. Doing something new, wanted to do something that would create a value or impact. Other than that, my team. I just have a very beautiful team with me, and I can't have say enough that how much we have helped each other to grow, both in terms of a person as well as in terms of the science that we do.
Right, that is so wonderful. So, just one question, that your journey from Mysore to Canada, if you have to describe it in one line, what would it be?
Be flexible and look out for opportunities.
Right, right. That is wonderful. So, I think we can start with the questions from the audience. So, we have received some questions from our viewers. I'll be starting with the first question here. So, pitching your research and solution to investors is challenging. What was your experience? This is a question from our LinkedIn viewer.
Absolutely right. Pitching to your research and solution to investor is challenging. Please follow this path. I do that all the time. I do that for my. It's not just for this business, or I don't have 50 business. I have only this business. But whenever there is a project, I make these 5 slides for myself. First and foremost, look out for that market pain. First and foremost, the first slide should be actually what is your name of the company, and you should take pride in that. You take pride in saying you work for Biocon. You take pride in saying you work for Microsoft. You take pride in saying that you work for Infosys. Same thing, put a name to it so that you take pride in it. Today it might not make sense, but tomorrow it will. And you will take pride in, even Triphase has a story. The name Triphase came only because there are 3 points that you do. You do research, you do validation of that research to make a product, and you do marketing. So three phases of a company which brings in revenue and which brings in, that's why it is called as Triphase. So there has to be a name to your company. Second is find out what is the market pain. You might be making, I'm not denouncing you, but just that you might be making something very simple. Look out for different alternatives. What is it that you can do with this step? First, you find out a market pain, then you find the solution to it. Third thing, which is the most important, look out for market, and this should be done at early stages. Do not try to do this at a later stage. Being a researcher, we get carried away. We put blinders and we keep moving forward. But then we realize, oh, this is already in the market. Maybe it is not even required by the market. So do that market analysis or market understanding as to what you are doing. Look out how many different applications of this technology can be or research can be. In my case, I was able to do it not only in food, not only in animal nutrition, but the third line was in dietary supplement, fourth line is in RX prescription. So there is that. Why you do that? Because you will mitigate your risk. You will make it more easy to be there, and so you have different revenue lines which you will establish. And the final one is the thank you slide for yourself. So if you do this, then you will be able to tell the investor in 30 seconds on your page, this is the market pain, this is the solution, this is the market I'm going after, and I can do it because of the credentials. So this is how you channelize it and give this. No investor is looking for your projections in the initial stages. Yes, you should know. You should know what you're doing. Yes, you should know how you're going to monetize it. Yes, you should know how you're going to get your first line of revenue. But investors look out for clarity is what I have understood. And believe me, I understood it after pitching it to 180 people. So it's not easy. No, definitely it is challenging. And some people just rubbish you as if you are not even existing on the earth. So that is where you have to make sure that you keep it as simple. Another thing which helped me to pitch into the investor was I was very upfront saying, I can do this, I cannot do this. I had told my investors very clearly, I am good at doing research. I do not know how to handle manufacturing or labors, or I even do not know how to handle sales. So we ended up making a model which actually benefited both of us. And this today also I do my research, I bring in technologies, I keep it ready. As and when it is ready for taking it to the market, they take it to the market. The royalties come back to us. I do what I do. So this is how you have to be very clear in your mind what you can do, what you cannot do. Look out for investors who you want them to be investing in you, not just because they have money. Every business is different. Some businesses are in the IT sector. Some businesses are there which are only made for Yahoo or Google or Mark Zuckerberg's to absorb you. Those businesses require a different strategy of investors. The businesses like ours, which have a long gestation, requires a different strategy. So you need to understand what your business requires.
So that is that so many takeaways in that answer. So thank you so much. And next question is from our Facebook viewer. When should one consider patenting the solution, and what are the challenges one can expect in the process?
You should start putting the initial patent application as soon as you are able to. Even with your idea, you should put it actually. Because when you put your ideas there and when you put patent there or you put the first application, at least you know you have 18 months to prove whether it is happening or not happening. So you should take that step very early on. We knew that what is the market opportunity that we had seen in, but at the same time we did not know that whether this solution is patentable or not. It doesn't hurt. It requires only 20,000 rupees or 30,000 rupees initially to put this actually on paper and put it, file it so that your idea is safe. So try doing this. If you are into the area where you are creating IP, do it ASAP. I did it exactly once we got our first breakthrough, and from there on we calculated. Yeah, what are the challenges one can expect? Well, challenges are immense. You have to defend your patent. So you need to know what exactly you want to do in that patent and keep your research or area of work only in that direction. But as I said earlier, also this is the best time to be in in India to start up your company. I have been immensely benefited again with through that that MSME website is my stress buster. Anytime and every time I find that there is a problem, I sit on that website and I find one reason to take back money from the government. So whatever patenting I did, all the patent money has been reimbursed to me from the government. It is, of course, I sit in Karnataka, so Karnataka has a different cell called KBITS. They help us, but other than that, also even the central government has this in under the MSME scheme. They have this. Provision that if you are patenting and if the patent is granted for Indian patent, they give you up to 2 lakhs, and for international patent, you get up to 10 lakhs.
All right. So now the next question that we have is from many viewers. So this is regarding how to build your dream team. What were the key parameters to choose the right candidate?
So, dream team is something I can talk on and on. You need another session with me for that. But to be truthful to you, luck has been quite a big factor. I have been blessed with a lot of good people around me. I have been blessed with a lot of. I have been blessed to have people who gel with me. I am a people's person. It doesn't take too much of time for me to talk to a person, an unknown person also, let alone that a known person. And that is something is a cultivated habit. I was not like this, not a very outgoing person, but nevertheless, I have cultivated this habit. Dream team is something that you just get that hunch, gut bacteria. It's my probiotics which tell me that this person is the right person. And then you groom them to become the dream team. So I don't go by any awards, names, numbers, nothing. I go by a personal connect with that person. Some people you just get to be comfortable with, right? And some people you don't. So these people who get comfortable with me, I take it that way. Of course, we need skilled people, so basic skills are required. We need to, because we are in the area of biotech, so it is not that easy. But for me, at least the initial team which I took were industry people. It was not like off the hook I had picked up, or but yes, I think more than anything else, I have groomed, or these people got groomed over the years. So we have invested a lot in grooming our team to become what we are.
Right. So now the next question is for women entrepreneurs, five do's and don'ts for women entrepreneurs and mompreneurs.
Well, entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs, whether it is whether it is a lady or a man. There is no gender difference for an entrepreneur. You become an entrepreneur, you have to go through the same grind as as a man would go through it. But it keeps reminding me of Anand Mahindra's tweet, where he had done this tweet, I think, in the month of March or April sometime, wherein in front of a woman he has shown a lot of things which are lying up, right from the nappies to the washing machine to cooking and everything, and then entrepreneur journey, well as male has the same open-ended. Yes, for for all of us, we have to do more than that, but please believe in yourself. That is the first one. And the first thing that I would like you to tell is that if you are an entrepreneur, forget that you are a woman or not a woman or a man. It is something that should be ingrained in you to say we are a strong species by default. I have not heard a woman farmer committing suicide. I have seen a lot of men going out because that is what is expected of them. Not to go and commit suicide. What is expected of them is to take care of their families. And when they are not able to do it, they do not have the mental strength to actually go through that grind. While as that same lady, the wife of that farmer, would actually take care of the farm also and would take care of the kids also and would take care. So we, by default, women are a very strong species mentally. So the do's for you is believe in yourself, There's nothing else you can do but to believe in yourself. Cultivate habits which will be more useful to you for your good tomorrow. Those habits might be reading, those habits might be networking, that those habits might be listening to people, those habits might be understanding how the business models works. Allow yourself to explore yourself, allow yourself to see what are the new things. And the biggest, I think so, out of all these things, Kannan, is perseverance. There are bad days, there are good days. Perseverance is the only thing I think I take pride in. There's nothing else which works. Passion is there, money is there, team is there, everything is there. But every morning to push yourself out of the bed and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go there and see what is it in there. And after a few years, you come to the point that you simply say to yourself, bring it on, I will take care of it. So that kind of mental toughness or kind of grind is something that women have ingrained in them. Just unleash it. That's all.
Right, that is so inspiring, so motivational. So, we have one last question from the audience. And can you share with us some of your forthcoming services and products?
Yes. So as I said, the food applications are already there. So there are gummies and there are chocolates and there are breads and there are cookies, and we sell them most as an ingredient. We don't sell them as a final product, but these are something which are already very much possible. But other than that, what we do is we also provide, sitting in Mysore, if I have to dream that I can change the consumer perception in US, I am a naive business person. I do not understand then how business works. So what we do is we actually work with all the who's and who's of the probiotic world. We tell them, give me your strain. We will convert it on our technology called Strain Boost technology. We will convert and give it back to you. And when you get it, you go and use it in your products. So we are already doing that for some of the major players. And the rationale is when they go out and say, if the brands like, the DuPonts and then the CHR Hansons and all the other people, big people, if they go out and say there is a technology which is making my strain temperature stable, it becomes easy for us. One, there is a validation to what I have, and second, it becomes easy for us to take our products also into the market at a later stage. So these are the new forthcoming services. Product wise, we are also going now more into clinical trials, more into some more technologies, which is not only making them temperature stable, but also other market pains of these probiotics. There are offshoots of this particular technology wherein we are isolating some peptides and proteins out of these probiotics, and that can become actually an interesting area. Also, we are looking at putting these probiotics in animal nutrition. So we are partnering or collaborating with some animal nutrition companies where we are taking these probiotics and seeing that it can go into the feed, so that because even Bangladesh has banned antibiotics. So obviously we need to have something beyond antibiotics even in India. And that's why we see that there is a huge market opportunity in animal nutrition. Whether you be your dog, if you have dogs and cats in your houses, the first thing which goes wrong with them is stomach. And the easiest way to put it, rather than giving them antibiotics, the easiest way to put it back into order is through probiotics. Temperature stable probiotics or strain boost technology based probiotics help you to do that with much ease. So yeah, these are the new areas that we are working on.
Right. Thank you so much. So, is there any message or any closing statements that you would like to give the viewers?
Believe the main thing that I think so we should do. I am not there yet to give any gyan out there because I have lots of things to accomplish before I can be in that position to say, okay, fine, these are the pearls coming out from me. But one such thing I definitely would like to tell to especially women entrepreneurs is there couldn't be a better time and space than what you are in right now in India. Make use of it, make understand it, get yourself involved in the business enough that you find ways to be successful. We really need to see some unicorns coming out. We have seen few, and we really need to see some good women unicorns coming out. And I'm hoping that very soon we will be seeing that.
Right. So thank you so much for such an inspiring session. There are so many takeaways in different stages of business. I'm sure it is going to be very helpful for our viewers. And thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, and hoping that in the future we will interact and we will see some more times together. Thank
Definitely,
you.
definitely. Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot. Yeah, bye
And
bye.
thank you to all the viewers for joining us. We will see you in the next show tomorrow. Thank you so much.